Greetings demons and welcome to another Fortnite Battle Royale video, and let's talk about Chapter 5 Season 3.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
So, as I'm sure the title and thumbnail kind of spells out, I'm not enjoying this season right now, and I know it's still early doors where, less than a week into the season, but to me this is just not a great season, and I have seen online this is not an unpopular opinion. I'm not expecting to, blow anything out of the water or anything. I understand that a lot of people aren't enjoying this season, and I just kind of wanted to go over my thoughts and feelings around it, because despite wanting to play Fortnite, I'm not enjoying when I do. So, let me decompartmentalize exactly why that is, and just kind of discuss my thoughts overall. So, I do want to say, just starting off, I did want to enjoy this season. I didn't go into it negatively. The only thing I was slightly negative on, and you can see this in my original 3 videos covering this season, was the Battle Pass. I don't love the Battle Pass skins, and I think that's pretty fair that you're not going to love every single Battle Pass. I'm still working my way through. Obviously, I want the T60 power armor. The Machinist has grown on me, stuff like that. I'm not going to get too much into that right now. That might be a future video, just talking about the issues I have specifically with the Battle Pass. But yeah, beyond that, I was very excited for the season. The theming was very cool to me. It being Apocalypse was just something interesting. It's something we haven't really seen in the specific way we've seen it this time. And I was hopeful that we were actually going to see a good amount of variety this season. However, what we've instead got is a largely car-based meta with an otherwise unchanged loot pool. And I say that there are some changes, which I'll get into shortly, but that is the major thing. I don't enjoy the vehicle gameplay, and that is a general statement. I have not enjoyed vehicle gameplay pretty much since the introduction of vehicles. There's been good moments, some vehicles have been nice, and things like the Cowcatcher is actually a really fun item to use, and the fact that we now have a variety of different, car upgrades essentially, whether that be the grenade launcher, the minigun, the bulletproof tires, which I've really been enjoying using because it means I just don't have my wheels shut out constantly, and we also have the spike bonnet, or whatever they call it, the ramming rail thing, which honestly they're all cool upgrades, and if this was an update to Rocket Racing to make it more like GTA races, yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be far more excited for this than I currently am. But right now, as of recording this, there is no good counter to vehicles. And I know what some people are going to say, the boom bolt is really good for taking out vehicles. The issue there is I don't want my crossbow to be the weapon against vehicles. That's just how it is. I like the crossbows and the bows in general in Fortnite. They're one of my favourite kind of specialist weapons that you can actually get in Fortnite. And that's been the case historically. I love all the variations of the crossbow. I've liked all the different variants of the regular bow, the boom bow, whatever. And yeah, this time around with the boom bolt, I think it shouldn't take rocket ammo. It should take sniper ammo, large ammo. And it shouldn't be the way that we take out vehicles. I don't enjoy it for that, especially with the drop-off that, this chapter introduced. It's not a fun way to play. I would rather have something like a lock-on launcher, like the Anvil launcher. That would be so much better, or as many people pointed out, the EMPs. Right now, you cannot counter a vehicle other than with a vehicle, which is really, really annoying, especially as someone who doesn't enjoy actually getting into a vehicle. Before this season, I maybe got into a car once every 10 matches, and it was mostly just for rotations. It was just to get from one place to another. It might have been for a challenge, or it might have just been because I was right on the edge of the storm and I wanted to get into the circle. I don't use them as anything other than traversal, which is really frustrating now that the meta requires me to actually use them as an offensive tool. And honestly, it just kind of annoys me a lot. And the thing that I don't get, beyond the fact that they didn't reintroduce the Anvil rocket launcher, even though they did, 2 seasons ago for no reason, and they didn't bring back the EMP grenades in a car season, is the fact that they introduced a new item, a new special item, the Nitro Fists, which aren't effective against vehicles. And I know what many of you will be thinking. It's a melee weapon. It's not supposed to be effective against vehicles. But it could have been. It's a nitro-based item. Why can't it do more damage to vehicles? Why can't it be that, or at the very least, it gives good knockback on vehicles, which it doesn't really. It does some amount of knockback, which is nice, and it does mean that you can, if you time it right, knock a vehicle away from you that's trying to run you down. But it's not very effective, and I know a lot of people have been showing how it can actually be really effective in a 1v1 on the ground. I have not been too lucky with it. The Nitro Fists in general are something that I pick up every single match, but my win rate with them is non-existent. I am really, really not good with them, and I don't know whether it's just a me thing, or if they are actually as ineffective as they feel. But yeah, the fact that they don't counter vehicles at all is really annoying, and then the fact that they are way less enjoyable to me than something like the Hades Whip from last season, it really just puts into perspective how poorly thought out the loot pool is this time around. And that's not even mentioning one of the other changes that I think was a bit of a mistake. But that is my main issue here. The fact that there is no good counter to the meta for the season. I am fine with this being a vehicle-heavy season. You know, that's cool, that's different, that's something that we haven't really seen. But there needs to be legitimate counters. Not everyone can get a vehicle that's fully upgraded very quickly. I struggle sometimes to actually find the vehicle I want, whether that be the SUV or the, what do you even call it? I don't even remember what the regular car is called anymore. But I sometimes struggle to actually find the one that I want for the specific situation, never mind the upgrades that I want. And I know it's as simple as just go to one of the various, like, POIs or whatever you want to call them for the vehicles. And that's fair enough, but I'm not necessarily landing near one. I want to land at different places. I want to land places far out, you know, on the outskirts of the map, which is not where the vehicles are kept. And in general, it just makes it really frustrating that I will be doing pretty well, you know, have 5, 6, 7 kills, you know, in the top 30 players just to get run down by, you know, an SUV with a spike trap on the front of it. It's really annoying to deal with. And so far, at least, this is the longest for the chapter that it's taken me to get a win. I have still, as of recording this, not actually got a win, which is really not necessarily upsetting, but it's kind of just, it is saddening. I have been doing pretty well last few seasons. You know, the end of Chapter 4 and then into Chapter 5, I've been getting wins pretty regularly, pretty soon, and it's just not happening this season. It's really starting to get to me, and you could say I just need to get better with the vehicles, I just need to get more used to the current meta, and that's fair enough. I just don't think the meta actually is fair, and I generally think that the vehicles need to be nerfed while we also have something introduced that can actually counter them better than the Boombolt can. And that's really the core of my issues. But I've been holding you all back long enough. Let's get into my other thing, which is the removal of the Frenzy Auto Shotgun, and it was a clutch. Let's be honest, it was the strongest weapon in the game. It won pretty much every fight it was involved in, but it could be countered. There were other weapons that were similarly effective or just outside of the range of the auto shotgun, so you could win those fights. Especially with the combat AR, once that was reintroduced, you were winning most fights against an auto shotgun just because the damage output and range just countered it pretty well. The auto shotgun is gone, and in its place is the combat shotgun, which I really do like. I think the combat shotgun is up there as one of my favourite shotguns in Fortnite. And whether that be down to the range or the relatively fast fire rate, I have always liked the combat shotgun. I have no issues there. It just is a shame that to introduce the combat shotgun, they removed the Frenzy Auto. Except, there is one Frenzy Auto shotgun on the map, and it is potentially the strongest one we've ever had, because it's the mythic variant. dropped by Oscar, of course, when you fight him. Long story, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, Oscar's back on the map, and he, once you fight him and defeat him, gives you the mythic Frenzy Auto Shotgun, which is fine, and would normally be a perfectly acceptable thing, but it means that one person, and one person only, in your entire match, gets the most powerful weapon currently in the loot pool. And as much as I've just complained about the vehicle gameplay making it so that vehicles are way too overpowered, realistically, if you are the person who gets a Frenzy Auto Shotgun, you're winning the match. And from the matches I've played, where I've got pretty high up and ended up just watching who won, it has consistently been the person with the Frenzy Auto Shotgun. Which is ridiculous to say in a season that vaulted the item. But yeah, that is a very big issue for me. I like the Auto Shotgun just in general, like regardless of whether it's the Frenzy or the Combat or any of the other Auto Shotguns we've had over time, the regular Auto Shotgun, the original. I like that variant of shotgun. I like being able to just, hold the trigger on a shotgun and keep firing. It's my playstyle is run and gun. It's, just continue shooting, just heavy artillery. And having the Frenzy Auto Shotgun gone is just kind of annoying. And especially when there is that one available on the map, I don't want to have to land on Oscar just to win a match. That's personally not fun to me. I don't want to have to clutch on a very specific one-of-one item. I don't think that's unfair to say that you shouldn't have to. Realistically, the combat shotgun could have come in and the auto shotgun could have stayed, or they could have switched out to one of the other auto shotguns, because at the end of the day, the combat is a very specific case. It's a narrow range of fire with a long actual distance to shoot. Like, you can fire pretty far with the combat, but it has to be very accurate. The auto shotgun is the complete opposite. It's pretty close range, but you have a pretty wide spread of shots. You can actually hit regardless of how bad your aim is, which is what makes it overpowered in some aspects. But at the end of the day, it's a different playstyle that is just not currently represented, and it becomes really, really annoying when I'm having to switch out to, well, realistically, the closest thing that I have is the Nitro Fists, which I've already made clear I'm not a fan of. It's just kind of annoying in general to deal with. And with all that being said, I just want to just point something out, and this is a little bit more positive, but is also a bit questionable, and I haven't seen many people making this point online, so I'm assuming this is probably the most unpopular opinion in this video, but the war bus is less fun than the train. Now hear me out on this. So, I have been landing on the war bus pretty frequently. Whenever I'm near it, whenever it's in my landing path or whenever it just comes by me, I've been going to the war bus. I've been jumping on top of the bus, killing the gunners, and destroying the, boss car, so to speak. And, that's all fine. But it's the most samey thing ever, and it often leads to my own death. And I don't think it's necessarily my fault that I'm dying, because as I say, I'm sometimes landing, looting, and then getting on the war bus. I, have a gun, destroy all the NPCs, and then I often end up getting just third-partied out of nowhere by somebody using the turret on a vehicle, or worse yet, someone stealing the boss vehicle and gunning me down with it. As I say, I'm not a vehicle person, so I don't generally steal the vehicle. Once I've, defeated it, I go for the loot more than anything, because obviously you can sometimes get the medallions. I know it's a me thing, but I much preferred when there was just a constantly moving vehicle around the map that you landed on, looted, and then could leave, or stay on if you wanted to. I prefer that to the current system where it is an NPC-controlled vehicle that once you kill the NPCs, just stops moving, and you have to be the one controlling it. And I get the autonomy versus, actual control thing is a big thing for most people, but you could have had both. They've got rid of the train entirely, even though part of the key art includes the train. And I know that was leaked key art, that wasn't the actual end-finished key art. But at the end of the day, we were expecting a new train, and we just didn't get anything. The train has been completely just buried. And yeah, I liked the train. I thought the train was a fun addition. I enjoyed landing on it. I don't enjoy the warbus, and the warbus is the closest equivalent we currently have to the train. So, yeah, I don't know. I miss the train. I wish the train was still here, and hopefully the train does come back in some form during the season. I just, at this point, kind of doubt it. The warbus is fun, but not as fun as the train. And I think that's just kind of disappointing in general. And I know I said this was more positive. I more meant that in the case of this isn't, a major flaw of the game. It's just a thing I'm not necessarily enjoying. At the end of the day, the warbus is really cool. It's good to see the warbus back. We've not had the battle bus as a drivable vehicle in, over a year? 2 years maybe? I'm not actually sure on the exact timeline of it, but yeah, it's nice to have it back. It's nice that it's here, and legitimately, I think it's cool that it's in the map. I just wish it didn't replace the train, which I think was a much better version of the always moving around the map, loot source. So, yeah, I think with that being said, that is all my points I wanted to make for this video. So, yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe to the internet, and ring the bell so you never miss upload. Otherwise, comment below thoughts and feelings. What do you agree or disagree with me about this season? What are your thoughts in general about this season? I know we're only a week in, but there's a lot of things that I just think need changing, updating, introducing, unvaulting, vaulting. Just a lot of things need changing, and the sooner that happens, I think the sooner I'll start actually enjoying playing Fortnite again, because right now, I'm just not. When it comes to Battle Royale, at least, I'm still playing a bit of Lego, and I'm still loving Festival. Festival's amazing. But, yeah, I'd be lying if I said that Battle Royale was interesting me at all right now. And that's despite me wanting to play. I want to play Fortnite, but when I play it, I just don't enjoy it. But, yeah, with all that being said, that's going to be it from me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but we'll survive. I just wanna tell